Welcome Lalit ji and Dr. Rohit Singh ji. Namaste. I'm Kiran Singh and coordinator of Sri Aurobindo Integral Life Center at Oro University. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to today's webinar organized under Sri Aurobindo Integral Life Center titled Transforming Universities into Learning Society Ecosystems. Today's webinar will introduce participants to integral education within higher education, which is a part of an active program running at Oro University under SAIL Center. The center operates on the vision of Honorable H.V. Ramaji, Founder President, Oro University. At SAIL Center, our integral education program's goal is to work on the transformation that brings about integral inner growth of all individuals, including mental, vital, and physical aspects of being. This webinar is timely in that we need integral learning to not only survive in the outer environment, but remain strong at the inner level as well. In the present situation, as our learners, faculty, and the wider learning community face situations of crisis, it is imminent that we change ways of educating our students by incorporating purpose through inquiry, redefining norms of accountability, and redesigning pathways for the future. We need to find the most appropriate solutions by introducing passion, purpose, performance, and persistence in our educational culture. And this can happen only when individuals are encouraged to use various ways of learning. Following on this theme, we are honored to have Lalitji, who will deliver this talk and address us on transforming universities into learning society ecosystems. Lalitji is an architect, urban planner who has been living and working for Auroville for the past 20 years and has engaged in diverse range of integral learning activities such as Auroville Master Plan, Sustainable Campus Planning and Design Studios, and Swadharma program. He has co-authored several papers including Tapping the Potential of Sri Aurobindo's Philosophy in Planning and has co-founded PATH, an Auroville-based architecture and planning studio and Auroville Campus Initiative. Please also join me in welcoming Vice Chancellor Dr. Rajab Velukar-ji, Oro University, and Dr. Rohit Singh-ji, Dean of Academics at Oro University. I request Rohit Singh-ji to please give his welcome remarks.
Thank you, ma'am. Welcome, Lalitji, virtually for the session, for the faculty members and the audience who have shown interest into the transforming universities into learning society ecosystems. This is for the knowledge of the audience and the attendees that Lalitji is helping our university in getting some practical ideas how to bring integrality into the ecosystem of the university as such. And Lalitji is known for sustainable development projects and urban town planning in Auroville. And whatever latest you see in terms of development happening in Auroville, Lalitji is having a major contribution into it. And Lalitji said that we, as a faculty members, need to play a very important and dominant role in bringing a student into the perspective of integral education. And he believes that a student will only learn when the teacher get aligned to the purpose of integral education. And that is the reason why we are having this webinar, where he will help us understand what is the higher purpose of an education system that could operate on is to help the nurture an individual unique quest and values, create opportunities to realize holistic potential, impart core and thematic skills, and provide an empowering local and worldview. And this is the reason why we are having this webinar, so that we can also understand what are the new dimensions and perspective which Lalitji will bring today in order for faculty like us to understand what are the efforts, measures, steps we need to take to ensure that we are moving in the right direction. Thank you so much, Lalitji, for being with us. And I'm handing it over to Kiran ma'am to start the session.
Thank you, Rohit sir. Before we begin, I would like to encourage all in the audience to participate today by asking questions. To do that, please type question in chat box at any time during the talk. We'll keep track of all the questions and share them at the end of the webinar. And now, Lalitji, may I please request you to address our audience, please.
Thank you, Namaskar, and very good afternoon. Thank you, Kiranji and Rohitji, to give me an opportunity to talk to all of you. I am very happy to be here. So I'll just directly start with my slides and go ahead with them, and towards the end we can take up questions and answers. Are you able to see?
No, we are not able to, Lalitji.
Okay, so maybe this has not gone. Who can share? I can share. Okay. Share screen I have pressed. Okay, fine. Now it is coming.
Yeah, this is fine now. Yes.
It's fine. You can see.
Yes.
Yeah, you just
right.
Now this is fine. Good. Thank you.
All right. So I'll be talking first about context, so that the audience also knows what is my background and my understanding, which got shaped up over a period of time. So that will help connect them the dots also, and then there I'll be talking about Orwell, how Orwell is a suitable reference in that case, and some other emerging examples from India and also some elsewhere. So this will be the progression. Sri Aurobindo says, the true knowledge is not attained by thinking, it is what you are and what you become. So these are some of the references I'm taking for this talk. I'm aware I'm not talking or giving a message as if all the present universities will change over a period of time immediately. The whole thing is about the willingness, understanding the value of this, and the willingness of the institutions and the people, those who are in those institutions, to walk on that path. So my experience comes from my living in Auroville, or at multiple levels, as a resident, as a planner who worked in the planning office and other planning activities, learning activities, as well as parent. I have 2 children. So with that combination, I am sharing this, let's say, my understanding of this topic. Sri Aurobindo also says, the whole world yearns after freedom, yet each creature is in love with his chains. Your stumbling is perfected, and all life is yoga. So if we look at all these things also in the same time, so we have our old systems, which we can call, we would like to continue with them because they give us the comfort zone, and it is not easy to come out of comfort zone, understandable. But at the same time, by your stumbling, so we have to keep on making new effort, even if they are complex. And with that, those efforts, slowly things are perfected. And somewhere Sri Aurobindo also says, there is not much to rest in that sense. The whole life is there, and whole life is yoga. I had yesterday this talk, which I also got forwarded from somebody. I'll just give a reference because it is very much in the same alignment. There was a talk 2 days before, reimagining education, and these particularly 3 people, those who talked about 4 people, their message, the key message was also, interestingly, the education for whole being and civic engagement of the students and learners, the faculty, the institutions, the whole setup. This talk is available, their recording, video recording is available on this organization. If people want, they can write in the comment or later post. My email ID will be given and I can share the talk again. It would be interesting if you see or listen to this talk. It is quite in similar alignment, and I think the world over these kind of messages are coming. And these are some of the leading people, very leading people, those who are dealing with a huge amount of even online learning and transformational learning. They also mentioned in this talk, and otherwise also I have this interest in figuring it out, the happiness, well-being or quality of life index. This study, there are many people, those who support this kind of study, some question the parameters, that is another element. But if we study that, there four Nordic countries which are always in the top 10. Without going much into detail, one of the key elements which has always come across, and this was mentioned in this talk by Otto Schamm, is that their education model is the key. Basically, their happiness or the future of their society or the future of their world literally depends on kindergarten. It is the first 7 years, and I'll be mentioning it further ahead also when Mother, the founder of Auroville, who says the first foundation is laid in the first 7 years of a child. So this talk, I also want to give a reference when I'm talking about university and changing ecosystem. They are not separated from what happens in the house, in the family, of university. That is the key, and that is the most important foundational beginning of a child or a beginning or family, the society. It's a collective setup. The foundations start from there. So even for these Nordic countries, the educational model has been found as one of the key, how they treat their children, their learning, and they give a kind of a special freedom, trust, and support by which they develop confidence. They take whatever one can call either risk. They basically innovate. They innovate. So they have a feeling of trust and support and abundance instead of fear. This is a general model which then finally scales up to the society level also. What are we dealing with here? We have a young energy. They are in a very formative and perceptive years. Till the age of, they go out from the college, they are very kind of free, fresh, full of enthusiasm, sense of idealism, driven. But they are looking for a sense of purpose and a quality of engagement. And they have this energy that they would like to take action to transform the local context, world, whatever it is. Very often it has been found that most of our institutions set up, our society, our instrument of the society, they are not really much able to respond, facilitate, or help this kind of transformations. Very rarely. Talk about the value system and how the perceptions. So in the middle, what I have given a thumbprint. So one group of people can easily perceive it as this is a sign of somebody being illiterate. And another group can easily think this is unique, because this is indeed unique. How we perceive a human potential, the possibility, whatever the context may be, depends upon our value system, which has got shaped up over a period of time. So again, I will refer, the value system starts early in the childhood. All codes. What I am sharing in the first part of presentation is how I have developed or got an opportunity to shape up my understanding about these interlinked issues. So these are unique codes. Each individual, each human being, each footprint, each DNA, we are unique. Unique potential. Technology is taking learning from this. They have also developed quick response code out of that. And either we have the cities, societies, they are all unique code if we know how to relate with them, how to decode them, and how to engage with them. Engagement is the key word I'll be using throughout in my presentation. I'd like to touch upon something which I was reading recently. Civilizationally, many of us are aware, we know, we worship the Ganges, Ganga. There is a book by one architect, Anthony Acquati from US. It's a quite thick book, and I was reading a beautiful, wonderful map, the data presentation, visualization, amazing, wonderful. And somewhere he says, when he was working for this, he wrote as a 1-year project as a Fulbright grant, and then it turned out to be 10-year project. Typically, all work, they take more time, all especially good quality works. I was reading quite a lot. I had a personal interest also in this. I have grown up next to so while he was working on this, he also mentioned that he was not able to find much map information, data documentation, many such things while he did the research. So many of the departments, institutions did not have very good documented information about this. So that gave him a chance to work on this further. And while he started from one angle, he went on covering all the aspects: the beginning, the British Raj context, the Ganga mythological context, the mapping, agriculture, food, many such things, how the river changes course and how. So this books, I would also recommend people, and I'll tell you why later. I would recommend people to understand how such book basically talks about, this is the backbone of our civilization, particularly North India, if you see, and how this river has been feeding millions and millions of people for thousands of years. What kind of development has happened, how civilization has developed, cities, societies, institutes have developed. So my point here is how today we, as city dwellers, educated people, young boys and girls, how we are able to relate or engage with this river. And that would be a sign of so-called evolved and educated society. What is our relationship? It cannot be limited to the consumption that we are getting water or the food grown from this water. That is very limited in survival level. There is something much more deeper. Are our families, societies, institutions able to engage us with the river Ganga? Metaphorically, in this case, there could be any other local context in most appropriate way, because they form the basis for our life. Soil and water. So this is another topic which I want to highlight, how this is not really getting covered in our any educational system and stream, which I find one of the most important ways. So let us see as we go along how this comes up. This is something which I talked about, how this river Ganga has shaped up the whole civilization. But our understanding how the cultures, the Kumbh Mela, how so many people have been going there, and how today, because of all the climate change crisis, refugee crisis, the leading institutes and people in the world, they are studying the Kumbh Mela temporary transition townships. So how something started as a cultural phenomenon, and India or the organization, the states wherever Kumbh townships are developed, they have developed to the scale that people are coming to study them in case of refugee crisis, how these townships are to be developed, to be taken care of. So how one thing leads to another. A bit more about me as a background. So my early childhood and grown up, my early childhood part is in Roorkee. Then I did architecture from Lucknow, then post-graduation in planning from Ahmedabad. My first and last job in Bangalore. So technically when the world was going for more market-oriented work or development and career, I was kind of retired at the age of 26 when I came back from that perspective. So moved to Auroville, worked as in the planning office, and then I also joined Auroville. So all this have given me an understanding of different city and society relationship, and how cities are network of networks, and convergence, integration, and harmony. All these are the traits which these places and the societies have helped me understand. Something interesting, while being at Roorkee, which I realized, being, let us say, like all of you, thinking mind, I also kept thinking, how does it all work? So my father, Mr. G.P.S. Bhati, he was a retired engineer in UP irrigation. He is still there. He is in Roorkee. A very passionate man who used to tell us the stories about everything like a normal Indian middle class family, Mahabharata, Ramayana. So we were given mythological understanding of the stories. At the same time, he was very passionate about irrigation, how this canal was built about 50 years back with the alignment of that time, and which led to the development of IIT Roorkee. What I realized over a period of time, the project was providing food, enhanced food capacity to the land and people. The actual project turned out to, that was the mission. The project turned out to be canal. In order to run and maintain the canal came the college, which later today became IIT. So if you see from that curve point of view, IIT Roorkee, which is a very famous institute today, is a byproduct of food, of meeting the food requirement that to one river Ganges river basin. This gave me a perspective how the city and societies have been shaping up, and once you do something, that leads to something else. So today we have IIT Roorkee, fairly famous institute, does many things. I'll come to that, what and how some of the leading institutes are not able to do, and perhaps they should be focusing on that also. I'm giving you this as a background, what all shaped my understanding. Another thing which shaped my understanding was, while being in Auroville, I learned about vibrational energy. Some of you may have seen this work on the YouTube or otherwise many places. This is fairly famous, very, very famous. Masaru Emoto's study about the message of water, where he talks about water has a memory, and we have to be very careful how we treat with the water. We should be very respectful towards the water. So if you just type or Google or check the YouTube video, message of water, and this video is also recorded, so you can pause and note down the detail. I'm showing you the images where in the left one image shows water without a prayer and the right one after the prayer. So the way we speak, and message of this for me has been, we are more than 60% of water, a human body. So the way we treat ourselves in terms of our thought, our actions, our relationship with others, we need to be very careful, mindful, because the water in us, the crystal of that get affected, and when we relate with anybody else, so do theirs. So these were some of the key building blocks. Another was this, which Auroville helped me learn. One needs a village to raise a child. This is a saying, and I fully believe. And what I learned in this society is that even if we have two children, our own biologically, but their growth, their raising, their development has been greatly shaped by this society also, and we are very grateful for that. So there is a child who needs that level of both compassion, support, diversity, inclusivity, the trust. So we are talking always about self and a society in that sense. This is another, I'm not trying to give a lecture about what is solar system, but share a few things which I like very much about this, which is, so we are in our orbit because others are in their orbit. So this picture gave me that impression. We all as a society, so this is a society, this happens to be astronomical scale, that's all. But this is a society which worked together for millions of years to find its balance in a workable rhythm. Similarly, out of all these, there was someone who was more ready, let us call it Earth, where life took place. So when we are referring to the example, the development and how change comes, there is always a sign that in a larger system, somebody who is more receptive, more open, who is more willing, more conscious to allow life to take shape or evolve. This is one example at the solar system level, which I like very much. Another is that they all have figured out their orbits, their strength, their gravitational forces, and they found their rhythm and they go around, and we are the byproduct of seeing those seasonal changes, variety, and whatever comes with it. So just wanted to share this. So how do we design the curriculums to assist the journey of each individual? Because each individual is a cell of society, and we're talking here about, I'm going more for holistic growth of a person. If an individual is healthy, the cells are healthy, the society as a individuals as a cell of the society will also be healthy. I'm taking that route. Towards that, I would like to share one of the most important and foundational principles given by the founder of Auroville about 5 principles of education: physical, mental, vital, spiritual, and psychic. These are the 7 levels, 7 planes on which each individual has to work, and anybody, those who are dealing in the field of education, particularly in Auroville or any other society which would like to develop the whole being educational approach, transformational learning, they need to be referring something like this in their own context. As compared to this, if we see, I have on the bottom right side, there is a arrow going and dot, which just shows graphically where are we as a civilization. We are predominantly focusing, our contemporary educational approach is on mental plane. It is not helping us to develop, relate with all other planes. And the primary reason for this is our educational understanding and the model is quite a lot by the industrial economy or economic lens, and the guiding value of that lens is fear. It is based on the fear approach, like when we go for exam, if you don't have a degree and if you don't score well. So we have created the whole wonderful system around this, the whole amazing perception, and there are people, educational institutes, families, the larger society has quite fallen for it. And this also brings the question, if we are following the route of the fear, naturally the happiness index of our society will take lots and lots of time to revive, because we have invested in the fear. So this is what we will be harvesting as a society. One has to just keep this in mind. The seed of the holistic growth is within each child, and the supporting ecosystem. When I'm talking about supporting ecosystem, the job is to nurture each individual. There was a previous session by one of my colleagues, and she was giving a webinar on our university platform. She talked about the basics of integral education. I think one of the key messages was also, Aurobindo also says, he mentioned that will come, I think, the next, that nothing can be taught. The main thing is we all have the seed, the learning seed is in us. The role of a family, the home university, as well as any other external university could best be to nurture that seed. So again, we go back and relate to the concept of soil and water, which allows the nurturing also, other than the care part. So these are some of the ideas, which is the principle rather, which will help us understand the role. It is very important to understand the role, particularly also from this teaching and learning point of view. Most of the time, naturally, when we are educated, we have degrees, we are PhDs. So of course we have to teach something, but one has to be careful teaching for what? What is the content and what is the purpose? And do we have the right qualification for that kind of teaching? So one has to be open and willing to learn those things. I'm just referring these goals as the one of the world framework which UN organizations have been working. And though they are proposing here as a solution, which is a wonderful thing, what I'm trying to highlight is they have come up as a response to some of the issues and problems our world is facing. You can go from poverty, health, quality education, gender, pollution, water, climate action. One can go. This is just for a reference. So when I give an example of Auroville and other places, you can relate for this and yourself how a learning ecosystem, society will be responding to this. They're learning. The point I'm trying to make here is, these are some of the goals. We may agree with them, we can relate, we can have a discussion and argument from any point, but we cannot deny that there are some of the very key, serious issues which we are facing as a society in our local context, any state, country, anywhere. If our learning systems, which is basically equipping a boy or a girl, a young person, if we are not able to equip and empower them to discuss, to rather engage with any of this issue of their, let us say, particular liking or where that is, the whole notion of education and engagement is a big question mark. So this is one point I would like to highlight, that we need to see whatever we are doing, it is able to respond to something. Quickly towards the Auroville example. Auroville has been responding as a learning society towards some of these things. So the key learning here for Auroville is, the mother said Auroville is entry is here by the goodwill. You should be a person of goodwill. And Auroville deals with the matter and spirit. And the key message which I want to give in this session, which you can take, is the engagement to transform. It is not the knowledge as a harvesting something for personal consumption. Education is not for lack. A knowledge without use is poison, as the saying goes. It is an engagement to transform. It is that level of commitment, clarity, and understanding with which Auroville has been working. I'll be taking through some of the slides. In that context, like most of the institutions also have their own charter, value system, and many other things. Towards that, Auroville has a charter which talks about Auroville belongs to nobody particular but for humanity. There is no personal private property ownership. Auroville is a place for unending education, progress, bridge between past and the future, spiritual and material research. So when a society, you can consider it as this is a living society kind of institution, if you can call it, in that sense, if you relate ecosystems of a society. So when a society has these values to refer as a lighthouse, so whatever we do or we make an effort, we try to align as much as possible in our limitations with these kind of the values of the charter. It is only 50 years young. Most of the places where you are sitting in your place, I am sure they are not less than 300-400 years old. So Auroville is fairly young, a child who is learning how to walk. This was the inauguration time. There is plenty of information about Auroville on its wonderfully done Auroville website. One can check it later more in detail. So my idea is not to show you how Auroville has developed, but to narrate the same thing from a learning society perspective. This presentation some people might have seen earlier. Plenty of that has been written. It is on the YouTube also. But the point is how this society has been learning, which has this kind of charter. And it was based on the spiritual vision of Mother and Sri Aurobindo. So when the land was barren, even the ideals were very high. Human unity, almost like changing the world order. What you see in front of you was the ground reality, which can be seen as an issue, problem, people without much resources. So what they had was only their inspiration, faith in the vision, and they applied themselves to the ground condition. They engaged with the ground condition, and this is what I am trying to give a very clear and a strong message. So people just engaged what their engagement did, and they were not the experts. You are not supposed to be expert of sorting out everything. You should know how to engage, and by working, you figure it out. They worked also with the local population. It was a very difficult terrain, harsh reality, very poor vegetation. So they did the first work what was there, taking care of the land, healing the land, the transformation of barren, degraded, so-called wasteland into a fairly lush green forest. And when something like this happens, the microclimate change, social realities changes. This is what I want to also mention here. In India, we have this tradition of when a girl is married, she goes to husband's house. Because of Auroville, let us say Auroville's engagement, transformation in this region, in area, in an integrated way, the girl, those who were living nearby Auroville and those who were working in Auroville and those who got, I would say, very well trained, they got a better exposure of capacity building and understanding, not only work, the integral life. They were not much going out of Auroville region, rather they were marrying and their husbands were coming. So in a way, it was a socially very reverse trend which this area has started. Because this area, so Auroville is in a very rural Tamil Nadu area next to Pondicherry. So when Auroville started, it was a fairly backward and very complex and difficult area. But where Auroville started, they applied their vision, faith and engagement. With one thing after another, this society has been able to transform many areas of life, walk of life. Some images, how this is a fairly recent image. Few months back when we had a cloud cover and this man-made forest has come. It changes groundwater condition. There is a wood available for also the local population for activities. The windmill, based on how the activities, it has created even an industry how to make windmill which are sent around within India or even exported. Again, I would like to refer back. Things started with a vision. People started engaging with their idealism and enthusiasm. They experimented. And while this experimented, they created opportunities for work, craft, skill, business, enterprise. So everything started developing. Something similar, parallel example, which I was talking about first in the Roorkee. The project was to have more food growth. You need a canal network for irrigation. For that came IIT as a center, and now it is heading in doing something else. Roorkee has also developed civil engineering, instrumentation, development. So enterprise, how societies have been developing. So one of the key question or even say if I say the disappointment with that an element is beyond a point, these institutions have not been able to engage with the city and the population they are residing. And there lies, I think, one of the crux. We need, all institutions have to figure out the ways in which they engage with the surrounding region. The localization, this message is very strong, and I think that alone will perhaps help us. I'll just go ahead with this. So experiments in the water treatment plant, rainwater harvesting. So the first work was environmental region. So when I'm saying all this, this was in first 50 years, this society was learning all this. They were preparing the land. So the living part came kind of much later, but the first work was very clear. If you have a land in that condition, you need to take care. So it took first year to heal the land and to build the living base for emerging society. These were some of the key works which Auroville has been engaged in a vast variety. The people, those who came, even if they came for having a feeling and understanding that we have freedom, we can progress as we want. So, but people came with their different taste, temperament, and skill, and they were offering that. So, when you are offering something to collective, you are offering from your perspective, your ability. Something similar principle can be used perhaps in any educational institute, that the teacher, the educational, the people, they have different set of skills. We need to be open. We need to collaborate, to work out and create that holistic learning and living environment in which this kind of nurturing can happen. So Auroville has been working very closely also with the help of MAP. What I'm trying to show is not about how Auroville is wonderful and how Auroville has done amazing work. That is a separate point. That Auroville has been engaged and working and developing these skills, this information, and how it has been engaged with its own society and surrounding bioregional society, and also nationally and internationally. Something similar I'm imagining. This is, let us say, also my vision. I'm sure many other people have this vision. Something of this kind, this form, could also be taken up by different institutes, those who are willing, those who want to be having a progressive understanding of transformational working. Experiments in the field of renewable energy. Auroville has been a pioneer in that field. Very well known in the field of architecture and alternative construction building technology. I'll just quickly go ahead. Many people, like thousands and thousands of students, researchers, and all this is also on the website. There is a research website about Auroville where the papers are there, people coming from outside doing the research. All this is also there. Mobility. Right now we are passing through different stages, but I think one of the key mobility point is also to have cyclable and walkable predominantly. Right now we are entering into electric mobility. Many electric vehicles are there. This will give you an understanding how society is connected, integrated. Auroville Radio, which conducts interview, news and notes, which you can access. Anybody in the world today can access news and notes on Auroville website. This is big bulletin. So whatever we have discussed, our key topics, some of them may be sensitive, internal, complex, with account detail, finances, even differences of opinion, polarities. All this is recorded and shared with the world. It is a sign of transparency, inclusivity. We have our intranet page where all kind of information, announcement, discussions, argument, debate, everything happens. Many such. So it's a very vibrant place. But again, because the framework allows people to come and nurture and develop together. Many students have been coming of different age. These are very young boys and girls from class 6. I think this is from Mumbai. They come to study, and their theme of studying is very good, very inspiring rather. They study Auroville as a civilization. No other group. I have been receiving UG, PG, PhDs. They come for different purposes. This is the only group which comes to study Auroville as civilization. Quite impressive, I must say. The models of the cities in the school, which people are trying, the collaborative learning, workshops and exercises which keep happening. What Mother also talks about, these are important points I would like to refer. The education of a human being should begin at birth and continue throughout his life. So one more thing at this point I would like to highlight when I share also my personal journey. I find it very difficult to even relate and hence also believe, to digest, that a boy or girl at the grade 12, after class 12, at the age of 17, 18, is in a perfect know-how what he or she would like to do, and he or she can make a choice. This is one of those very complex things I have not been able to decode well. Rather, I think it is not very appropriate that such. So they can only make a choice if their previous time, those 18 years, have developed by the home living environment or any educational environment, how to develop your value system and how to make a choice. If they have been given that kind of opportunity in practice, then only they can make a choice. And so I was talking about how the shaping up of that understanding that they get empowered to make a choice which is appropriate and suitable for them has to start much early in the beginning, in the childhood. And here I refer that point here, Mother talks about starting from birth and continues in entire life. She also mentioned very clearly up to the age of 7, it should be total play. Absolutely. And while they are playing, they will develop the taste of learning and knowing and understanding life. This is very important. So just to keep in mind, Sri Aurobindo also makes it very clear when he says that nothing can be taught and mind has to be consulted in its own growth. It's not that a teacher can say something and a student will receive. I'm not sure it is happening also predominant nowadays anyway, because a mind has to be also ready and consulted for what it is going to receive a knowledge for. And the third principle is also very practical part I see, and this is also one of the strong messages that work from near to far. Wherever you are, whatever you are, what shall be. So towards that, so these are some of the principles. Here I'm just showing you some of the images. These are the faculty members from Auroville University, those who came to Auroville on a faculty training program and on integral education. So they went around and learned about the different practices within Auroville, how they are being done, and here they are taken to eco-service, how the waste management is being taken care. There's another group here we have which deals with the waste. It is also called Wasteless. They have gone ahead, they have developed even a course, Garbology, and there this chapter has already come in the Tamil Nadu textbook. So again, it is interesting how a society which is engaged and different people, we have a full diversity of people here, they pick up areas of their liking and then they work towards it, and then they engage within Auroville and the surrounding. Here they have gone ahead, they are very passionate about waste management issues and they work towards it. This gentleman Krishna, he is quite amazing and wonderful person. He's a farmer, but he deals with the farming in a very cultural fashion, and food and festival and the music. His farm is Solitude Farm, and these were the students, those who came from IIT Roorkee, those who came on a program to learn about organic farming. Auroville has many farms, all of them are organic farming. So how they do, what kind of processes, things to be taken care, this orientation. One of the program of which I am also a team member, which we developed in Auroville, is Swadharma. You need not check it right now. This details are available. You can check after the session. The key pedagogical principles are self-referential, self-directed, experiential, immersive, and integral. We had already 8 batch, more than 115 students, participants have experienced this from many different places, different background, UG, PG, Indian, people from abroad. The key message, and even some of them were class 10th dropout, class 12th dropout. It is a 5-week program, 18 to 30 years of age, and it has been very enriching and motivating experience working on this. So what we learned with our lives in 20 years here, we were naturally very keen to pass it on, that understanding, share, and so that other people, those who must be passing from similar stages in their life, they could benefit from something like this. You can get the details of Swadharma on Auroville website, or otherwise just check, you will find it, or just Google it. This is one of the images of Swadharma within the environmental organization within Auroville, the people, those who are, so you are connecting the people. So this is another point which I'm trying to highlight when we are dealing with institutions. Like institutions have visiting faculty, you can take your students and engage them with the surrounding region, with the people, those who are doing different craft, agriculture, many things. So this engagement possibility is immense. So, as mentioned earlier, many students, organizations have been coming to Auroville for learning on different grounds. We also have a volunteering and internship possibility, Auroville Learning Net, and there are different units and opportunities. So one organization called Savi, which takes care of these things, they have partnerships. So students, interns come from India, abroad, and they get a hands-on experience. Very interesting. One of the things also as a part of planning is, you see, these are all sectors of life. One can quickly also go through, talks about food, mobility, energy, culture, farm, water, economy, everything possibly. So there was a study done like this, which is called Integral Sustainability Platform, which almost lasted more than 1.5 years. There is a report available for this. After, if people want, I can share the link of this report. This is one of the important element is, this is the way actually we live. We are essentially integral. So just doing a specialization in a particular field in a very isolated way is a kind of a way to rather damage and kill that integrality. So it should be ideally other way around, the possibility that whatever we work on, we maintain an element of integrality, because human by nature is integral. So we take care of, and some of the key, the foundational principle, I just refer two of them right now, the water and the food. There could be many other which can come in this, but our relationship with them, that level of understanding, that foundational layer, I think we have to maintain. Otherwise, the more we are dissociated with them, the more we are dependent. And the more we are dependent, we are at the mercy of not being able to take care. There will not be much to sustain in that case. So one has to be careful about this and to develop integrally both the people, the institutions, the cities and societies. So people ask whenever I have made this kind of presentations that you people don't have any problem and issues. It looks all very rosy, pinky, everything is nice, local governance. We have many groups, those who work, there is no one particular hierarchy. There are different groups which work. So in terms of problems and issues, we have plenty, and they are always increasing and they are always evolving. But how do we approach them? We take inspiration from something like this. All problems of existence are problem of harmony. This is what Sri Aurobindo says in Life Divine. So even if there is a problem, Auroville has developed a culture of relating, working on it from a very integral perspective. And I think this is a message also for any institute for that matter. So even if you are working in a particular area, even if it is research, we have to find a way to relate, to integrate with that, with many other things, and creating an opportunity for people to learn out of that. The future of learning relates with the vision of integral living. We have been passing through all these stages. If you see earlier, there was Agropolis. So even the initial universities, they had agricultural as a dominant subject related. Petropolis, we are passing through this. We are still going towards the IT technology, AI, artificial intelligence and all. Many such things will keep on evolving. But what we need to also keep in mind, certain key foundational elements, we have to keep in mind that they will remain. The future of integral living has to be in the vision first, and from there we will drive the future of learning. My personal favorite, that all the campuses, they should make their campus sustainability as a live project. They should work, they should document, they should allow. When a young mind, a very young mind who is shaping up their understanding, learning how to make choices, if they are given a supporting environment, when they see how the change is happening in their real life, from that perspective, if they can engage, I think they will be much more empowered and do the right things in their lives, and which will help eventually society to be a more healthier and happy place. Example of a collective and very voluntary spirit, how people can come together, is Wikipedia, an incredibly amazing example, very powerful, and what a profound source of knowledge and information they have done, again with the spirit of voluntary giving. Some good news is there are alternative higher education programs of self-learning journeys which are on rise, and some of them are, I'm just listing some of them, you may be familiar. There is the Indian Multiversity Alliance, all these universities, you can check also on the Google. These are the names of universities, even Auro University is mentioned there, Swaraj University in Udaipur, Shikshantar is an organization. They are, and this is HIAL, Himalayan Institute of Alternative, Ladakh. One of the most amazing thing about this is they are very clearly, emphatically saying their curriculum will be contextual. They want to train people, they want to make learning possible, enable people, those who are living in the Himalayan region. So for them, the context is very clear, and around that they want to develop, and they want to train the Himalayan leader for the next generation. And they want to move from 3 R's, reading, writing, arithmetic, to 3 H, head, heart, and skilled hand. So they also have these models. So many of them are also similar in a way in terms of integral approach. Sikshanta, Manish, and his organization. Many people, those who are doing Swaraj University for self-designed learning. So many of such programs and organizations, they are also on rise, which is a very good news. There is a Bhumi College also in Bangalore, many other. So one thing I liked particularly when I was seeing this also on their website going, so they are very clear and focused about local context. Because actually quite a lot of learning comes from when you engage, when you are grounded. It's not that you are learning just to fly away. That will keep you flying away. So one has to know where to ground, where to put your foot down, otherwise it will be complex affair. So that kind of connection with the local ground is very important, and I see and I noticed on their website, they have been paying that kind of attention and engaging people with that. There is the Ecoversity Alliance. There are many organizations, institutes, learning opportunities in different parts of India and also in the world, how they are networking. Another area has been Liberal Art College. They have been on rise also in India. This is just a quick snapshot, some of the relatively well-known ones. Those who are giving basically freedom. If you see the narrative is they are providing a freedom for a young mind to make a choice, but the choice can only be made if you know yourself or your value system, for which ideally foundation should have been developed earlier. But even now this can be developed, but that narrative will not change easily. You are dealing with the freedom in order to make a choice. But while you are talking about or training and providing a worldview, you are providing a worldview of both local as well as global context. And engagement, sense of engagement, civic engagement is the key new thing, which I think earlier in the learning model was not there. Even there is a World Localization Day I found, and there's a mindful travel and tourism education program people are doing, so that it's not that we travel to any region and we have a problem. 4 C's, you might have heard in many places, people talk about critical thinking, collaboration, creativity, and communication as the key learning skills. How these skills are being imparted, taken care in any institute, one has to look into that. I think I'm almost towards the end of this. So I'm bringing back what I started with, also the engagement from Auroville, or the message is we need to engage to transform, and this is the message I will give for the universities which want to be progressive and work in the field of transformative learning. That quality is simple, how some of the things can be developed around, say, topic of food. You can branch out and develop topic of soil, farmer, water, many such things. I presented some of these slides in my previous session, which was City is the Living Curriculum. So I have just taken some of them. Imagine a city has many institutes. If the institutes learn how to collaborate with each other, how rich a city and society can be. You have all the resources, knowledge, understanding, and learning possibility within your area. And that will be a wonderful sense. And I think a wonderful sense to also relate to your city, that your society is like this, where people are open. You can come. I don't know how many institutes today do open house. Very few, I guess. So if they do open house, if they are more willing to engage on a very open way, and institutes, if they are able to take directly, they should be the solution providers for their city regions. Each institute should take maybe an area of 25-kilometer radius, and they should treat it as the field work. You pick up any topic which you like, which you want to develop. If it is a management, the lens of management can be used even for agriculture, even for enterprise, social enterprise, many areas, renewable energy. But you engage in that area, develop the documentation of that, engage people, and give the youth to chance to engage with the surrounding area on a real-time basis. I think that would be helpful to bring a social change also. So these were some of the examples how this can be done. I can share these slides later if it is needed, or you can check and pause on I think it is also available on YouTube. So this is just and some images from Auroville. So this is the Auroville Center. So when we talk about cities, most of the city centers are commercial areas. Auroville Center is the silence, the peace area. The land should in the space and outer activity as well as inner change is needed, and it must be at the same time spiritual, cultural, educational, social, and economical action. This is also something, a vision I can relate well, not only with Auroville, but the future learning ecosystems of any university. That's it. One more can check information about Auroville there. My email ID is given there, and thank you very much. We can take questions now.
Thank you, Lalitji. It was a very in-depth understanding you have given about transforming universities into learning society ecosystem. I think it is time to start using the way you have shown that map interdisciplinarity as well as multidisciplinarity in the approach of integral education. Thank you so much, sir. So now let us see the questions here. There is a question from Deepak Bandur. How to manage the varied interest, skills and temperamental people for holistic development?
How to manage? Sorry, I missed. How to manage?
How to manage the varied interests, skills and temperamental people for holistic development.
So this is a classical situation, I believe, everywhere. It can as well start in one's own family, right? As a family, I always try to apply the same template starting from family. A family has all diverse possibility. I have a very different taste and temperament from my wife, and my both children also are different. So the issue will come if we have a particular expectation from each other. So if we go beyond this level of expectation, this is also I'm sharing from my very personal life experience, not that I'm trying to quote somebody. So what I have learned also with my personal life, as well as in society here, if you don't have any great expectation from anybody and you work towards a larger common cause, so defining a vision and a charter, a common objective is key. In our case, in Auroville, we have the dream given by Sri Aurobindo and the charter given by the mother. And there is another reference which is very key, which is to be a true Aurovillian. So they are so high, important and so powerful instruments. So whenever we relate, even if we have differences, internal disputes, fight and polarity, our alignment, these are like the different ships going in an ocean, but when you see a lighthouse, you know how to align. So another way to deal with that is, and that is a capacity we have to develop. Without that, things will not work, even in your family. So even if it will be a personally complex affair, organization, of course, it will be a very big affair. One can start entering into discussing the roots of the problem. You can make even a project out of that. Why don't the problem, the even innermost fear and a feeling, why don't we make even that as a project? What fear do I have if we approach it? If you know how to approach that topic, make it a project, engage even your colleagues and others, like how to collaborate. In gradient of collaboration, you can make a project because still people are not ready. I think the collaboration wheel, that vehicle will have a problem in moving. It's a classical situation everywhere. So to be open, to give people chance and make a willing effort. So the message from Auroville, if I have to give you, is people have been making huge effort. It takes us long time to come to some idea conclusion, but the people make these effort to address all the issues which are there in the society or a problem which have been raised in a question. So to have that commitment and a space, to hold the space, the skill of also facilitation, so that nobody has a personal either agenda. So to define the goal and work towards it, I think it is the key. And ultimately we have to keep in mind, it's a bit of fine line. Progress will happen when there is a willingness. If that kind of willingness and alignment, if it is not there, there will always be some level of conflict. So one has to also be careful, and if I say tactful, we can be very open and very open heart, but one has to be careful in treading the line to create a group of willing people with you, around you, those who are more willing to walk on that path. Not everybody may be willing. It's a very honest and fair thing. There is no need to enforce, because that will anyway not work. Integral education systems, anyway it will not work. Still a person or system is not ready, it will not evolve. A seed has to be ready. So, but towards that we can make effort, is my broad response to this.
And another question from the same person, Deepak ji. Are there limits to village or city growth for all components in a complex system to work in harmony and sustainably? Are there limits to village or city growth for all components in a complex system to work in harmony and sustainably?
So this is very interesting question. At the same time, it is complex sounding, but we have to go back again to the basics of the systems like this. You call it institute, city, village growth, you call it from any perspective. Why they develop, how do they develop, why people come to the cities, what are they looking, what requirements are being met, how they are being met, how a system is evolving, and what is the people's engagement. Unfortunately, most of the development, the way we are living is very consumer oriented. So the relationship is very consumer oriented. What we are getting from the city, whether it is the water, electricity, road, so it's a very hardware oriented. Our relationship is very hardware. So the software part, I think, is predominantly missing in terms of developing that understanding, and from that understanding alone will come the engagement. And once you have the engagement, the transformation and changes will happen. So the word growth could be taken in a very complex way. There is a physical growth, there is an inner sustainability growth, there is an understanding growth. So when all these layers come together, that could be an inclusive integral growth element. So depends what layer we are looking into, what we are referring or tapping. So otherwise, beyond a point, my personal reference is like, how do you relate with the city? Whether that well-being exchange is there or not is my reference personally. So otherwise, cities keep on growing. We can see the big cities, and there are many complex cities. Cities are mostly not easily sustainable. Complex systems.
Thank you. From Oro University, Avinash is asking, how can we bring air, water, soil, flora and fauna ethic in our curricula as well as campus life in serious way across all disciplines?
What is serious? I don't get it. What is serious way?
Okay. And in a planning mode, probably, Avinashi. Should I read the question again, or can you see the questions there?
I am just trying to see what is the last one.
How can we bring air, water, soil, flora and fauna ethic in our curricula as well as campus life in a serious way across all the disciplines?
It is very simple. Most easy, I find. You pick up the topic because what I feel, anything which you like, where your mind, heart and energy is, that alone will sustain. Nothing else will ever sustain. So do where your heart lies. For example, I am not able to remember from which background Ashwini is. You take any, for example,
Avinash is a landscape engineer.
Avinash is landscape. Okay. Like for example, okay. If I link right now, Oro University example, because I'm also familiar with this, he's a landscape engineer. He can take up productive. People are talking about productive landscape, where food is also being grown. Their plants are not only for decoration purpose. The landscape design has a possibility of touching and going in the depth of all of this. Now, how do you design that understanding? Whether you keep them in the campus, do handful work, or you take them in the surrounding 10-15 kilometer region and you see how different people, farmers and others are dealing with the same. So it is important, I believe, somewhere to expose them to the diversity of the issue and let students learn how to frame their queries. So we should not be in a hurry to provide solutions. We should be focusing on developing their quest. Their interest needs to be formulated. Their well-being is the paramount and the first, not our sharing of the knowledge or I'm more knowledgeable. That is not very important at all. So this can be integrated. The same example of food, soil can be integrated with your hospitality program. Hospitality has an element of food. Same thing can be dealt with any other design program. The whole food business, marketing, management can be taken up. So it is rather important. I would strongly suggest, we talked about this, and I'm sure we'll be talking again in few days with our university faculty members and people. It is important to develop cross-linked or interdisciplinary teams within all departments so that they all work on this. What will happen, it is not about some great output. The whole system of, let us say in this case, our university will get an opportunity first to reflect on a same topic from different angles, and that will be the beginning of learning how to collaborate. And I think that is key. It is not about that when you talk about food as if all the students will start going, they will become farmers. I'm not sure. But that thematic understanding may lead to their own growth as a plant.
Right. Thank you. Megha Gupta is asking, she is thanking you, as well as she is asking, localization and civic engagement is key. Any discussion with policymakers on this yet?
So, if I take my Auroville hat, the message which I have got from Auroville is you are not waiting for anybody. You are engaging. So though I get the message or intent of your question that we should be engaging, we should get more people on board, I get it. And it is important. So they can be brought many people, right from Prime Minister to many officials, trainees, people of all background have been coming to Auroville, that is there. But the key message is Auroville has been working on its engagement in diverse fields from day one, and it goes on. So Auroville is a living lab. So it is working, constantly working, trying to improve from raw to refinement. We keep going, we keep working. We have lots of issues, but we keep working on them. So at the right time, I think there are different ways to, let us say, also engage with the policymakers. They can come, there are events happening. So it says your speaker is not, is it working? You can hear me? There was
Slightly, but we can hear you.
Okay. So these are some of the, so they can be engaged. Auroville has been giving input, for different level, renewable energy, waste management, municipal waste management, and many other areas Auroville has been giving. So the beauty of good work is it is then noticeable. People know that this is the right thing and right way to do, and it percolates on its own, I think, somewhere in the policy level also. That is the power of good work.
Kuntal Shah is asking, when you wish to work for designing and sustainability, but for bread and butter you are working in town planning sector. Both are opposite. How do we maintain our journey with the same?
You start growing bread and butter. No, it is, see, if you see, this is the classical case of duality, which we all have. And the whole message I am trying to give, this will not work. If we have not learned how to make a choice about decisions and integral decisions, we cannot keep on riding two horses. It is as simple as that. So either you make choices or somebody else will make choices for you, which is not fun. So we have to learn how to make choices. They should come from your value system. We need to work on our value system. And there are ways, many times it happens, and it's a very understandable. This is what we realize and recognize also in our Swadharma program, that many young people, very well meaning, are also professionals earning well. They had issue of figuring it out what is their core value system. So there are ways, there are programs which can help you to go for figuring it out what are your core values, like your own inner core, your own fuel on which you live and work, your driving force. So it is good to work on that instead of keep on riding two horses. That will not work anyway, beyond the point.
Great, thank you.
And once you work on yourself, I have a feeling, faith, my own living experience, you can manage. You may be going through some difficulty, which anyway you are going through, it seems, if it is an inner difficulty or external. And then down the line, you find a way, a composite balance. Things are much more in a harmony. And I think there is no formula still to put a price on harmony. most rewarding thing will be harmony. I don't know who can price it.
Right. Anil Kumar Roy from CEPT University is asking, how do you inculcate critical thinking and questioning mind while learning in campus? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I heard there was some still sound issue. In my understanding, it is fairly simple. The faculty member, the system should be supportive. So imagine again, I go back to my own personal experience of life in a family. So when our children are asking a question, sometime even if the question is odd, difficult, their tone, language is also odd, we don't go for that external element of that. We try to go for the core. What is the meaning? What is the nature of the core of this question what the child wants to know, and build on that. So it needs certain opening. So if a system is open, so if any campus, and it is also possible that not all faculty members are aligned and open. So again, you apply third principle of Sri Aurobindo, near to far. Anyone, even if it is one person with whom you can relate, who can help you understand and shape up your understanding of integral worldview. Keep developing that, read more about this. You have to also learn slowly beyond a point. Perhaps you might not find, it is not a very happy situation, but perhaps you might not find all the answers with the fellow human beings. You might have to go to the books. There are wonderful works by different people, whatever appeals to you. Some of us have been reading Mother Sri Aurobindo, and there are many other people, philosophers, knowledgeable people. Wherever you click, you just draw your source of inspiration from them. So I think that may help.
Thank you. And Kalpesh Chaudhary from Oro University, from Mass Communication Department, is asking, what specific role of mass communication do you see in this regard?
Absolutely. It is very key. One of the things which has developed over a period of time, what we see is the mass communication nowadays, which is more in the forefront. But the mass communication has the ability to give a message, both in terms of writing word, the intent, using technology is one part. But the key is, but whenever you are engaged with any activity, you are engaged with your whole being. But with what value, with what alignment you are relating with, that is the key. So it depends, like if I give an example of this within Oro systems. So whenever any school, let us say the Oro University is doing a project on the food, all 5, 6, 7 schools are working on the food. Somebody is designing software around the food within the campus. So mass communication people can do the reporting, research about the food. What is happening, they can report, and then they will also do the investigation. They should be rather embedded. Mass communication people should be embedded in all the teams. Because once, imagine a system or a possibility, different teams from Oro University are going to approach, figure out field work, and 1 or 2 students from mass communication is embedded, attached to them. So whatever they are researching, whatever they are discussing, and they can also contribute to that discussion by doing their own independent research and findings. And then they frame it, they help frame it. So I think mass communication is absolutely very key to reach out to people. But I would say to give the right inspiring, questful, keep the, positivity. This is what I would say. There is no harm in being critical. We have to learn how to be also critical. But to present it in a way, this leads to some kind of action, positive action for them.
Thank you. And we have 2 more questions here. Is there a possibility to see these templates in cities like Chennai? From Vignesh ji.
You mean how something like this can happen in Chennai?
I think so. Because
so typically what has been happening, and this is also a mantra in any big setup, and this is what also Sri Aurobindo says, and we can figure it out. It's not very difficult to make anything which is big, whether it was a joint family, I go back to the family example, or any system organization. When it is big beyond a point, it has a difficulty of movement. The movement forward movement becomes complex. It is very well known. This is not a rocket science. Something similar is with the city. We don't have the capacity to comprehend our systems and that integral ability to make them work together. We are still not there as yet. So any beginning which is small as possible is excellent. It is very fine to be encouraged, to be nurtured, because it is only that seed which will lead to that kind of revolution. So I know personally there are many good examples in Chennai happening. I'm part of the group of also Indo-German Dialogue, which is a very cross-linked dialogue of there are people coming from farming, rooftop gardening, educational background, urban, there are teachers, urban researchers, many people, those who are coming. So from them, and otherwise also I'm aware in Chennai, I mean, you can come and also come sometime to Auroville, we can meet and talk. But I'm sure there are many initiatives in Chennai, so linking those initiatives and penetrating those initiatives at the level of youth, I would say universities, educational institutes, which is also happening. So if you are looking for contacts and link, that can also be shared. Whatever I have or I can provide, I'll be happy to share.
Yes. And the last question is, where are these tools regarding value system? Parmitji Nahil is asking.
I did not get which tools are we referring here?
Value systems, regarding value systems.
Well, it is all within us. That is one. It is a bit latent. And if you are looking for the program, I would suggest you can refer to also Swadharma website, how this is being done. I can also put you in touch with our other team members. There are videos, there are many, like almost 115 alumni. I am not aware in which city you are. There are some of our Swadharma alumni are in many cities, like there are different cities. So if you really want to get in touch with them, at least what is our experience in dealing, we'll be happy to help with that. It's a very interesting pedagogical approach, and yeah, it has been very rewarding. But on the other hand, I'm sure there are many other organizations, those who are also trying to work on the value system base, but have a look at Swadharma, I would say.
Thank you, Lalitji. It was very, transformation is required in education system, and integral education only, is a hope, in today's time, which can, bring transformation. I can see something here that this pandemic certainly created crisis, but people, whether they are in education or they are literate or illiterate, they studied this pandemic in having different dimension, science, humanities, journalism. A number of fields they studied pandemics in a different way, and at the peak, they use different tools also. They use different pedagogy also. So if we use real-time life situation in our normal, even day-to-day teaching, it will give very different experience to the students, and they themselves will learn. It is doing and learning simultaneously will happen, and doing and learning is doing, it should happen together. So thank you for your in-depth, the session. And now, I thank participants who attended these lectures and support our endeavors. I thank and take care.
Thank you, Lalitji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. So if people have more questions, if you want to forward to them, they have not been able to address, you can just send them.
Yeah, we'll share with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Take care, sir. Take care.